Through Our Lens,
a cross-cultural look on AI bias.
Hi everyone, I'm Ming Fan from Florida International University, US.
Hello, I'm Luciane Tenani from São Paulo State University, Brazil.
Hi, I'm Yang Yi from Wuhan College of Communication, China.
Welcome to this podcast titled Through Our Lens, where ideas cross borders and voices connect cultures, created by students from China, the United States, and Brazil during our virtual exchange project. This series is the results of 8 weeks of collaboration, creativity, and global discovery.
The students exchanged their perception on linguistic and cultural biases in AI outputs as they engaged in a series of academic activities. Their reflection discoveries shaped the scriptwriting process for each episode, weaving their diverse perspectives into a shared global conversation.
Listen to their personal voices. You will learn more about the AI biases and AI tools' cultural competence across American, Brazilian, and Chinese context.
Now tune in and hear what happens when students around the world come together to uncover the hidden biases of AI and the importance of building strong AI literacy.
Hi everyone, my name is Italia, and I'm the United States host representing Florida International University. Today we are joined by my co-hosts Maria Paula Reate from Brazil and Long Wontong from China. Teams from each country collectively worked on a fascinating project examining the world's favorite new technology, AI. Although AI has successfully integrated into modern society, whether through academics, the workforce, or solving personal dilemmas, few people understand AI's internal biases. Independently, across cultures in the United States, Brazil, and China, each team was assigned to discover and decipher the presence of bias in AI models. The teams were instructed to give the AI various identical prompts to contrast results across cultures, countries, and languages. It's natural to assume that because AI is a machine, it is unable to generate prejudice in its results. After all, artificial intelligence has no lived experiences to curate biases from. However, it's important to acknowledge that AI is a structured model that is meant to replicate general society's thought patterns and behaviors. Therefore, the biases present in modern AI are representative of the flaws within society. In this podcast, we will discuss and analyze our experiences in discovering these biases, exploring how they differ and sometimes translate across cultures. We are joined by our co-hosts Maria Paula and Long Wontong, representing their respective countries of Brazil and China. They are here with us today to discuss their findings when experimenting with AI.
Hello, I'm the Brazilian host Maria Paula from the São Paulo State University, better known as Unesp, in Brazil, and I'm representing our group in today's episode.
Hi everyone, I'm the Chinese host. My name is Long Yuan. I'm from the Wuhan University of Communication, and I'm looking forward to share our Chinese group's insights on this discussion.
Excellent. We've got a truly global panel here to delve into the crucial topic of cultural bias in artificial intelligence. I want to preface our discussion by thanking the listeners and to our co-hosts for inserting their valuable input today. It was exciting for our team to work alongside students from across the globe on this project. It is crucial to provide awareness for this topic as AI steadily becomes intertwined within society, especially as it begins to construct the academic, professional, and social communication of those who use it. I admit, I never really thought about how AI might have bias myself. What about you guys? What were your thoughts going into this project?
Well, we have never thought about it either, but once we started reflecting on it, we realized how biased AI was. We had expected it to be biased in a very superficial way, but as we talked among our colleagues, AI revealed itself to be much deeper than we had thought it would be.
Indeed, before I got involved in this project, I had never thought deeply about bias in AI. But with the development of my research, I gradually realized that this phenomenon is far more complicated and common than I thought. Nowadays, artificial intelligence is deeply interrogated into all aspects of our lives, from learning and scientific research to daily social interaction. Its influence is everywhere. These prejudices may not only affect our understanding of the world, but also intensify the misunderstanding and estrangement between cultures.
We felt very similarly. Thank you again, Ma Paula and Long, for being here today to discuss your group's experiences. Let's begin with our first prompt. All three teams instructed AI to generate a self-portrait based on textual descriptions of each member of their respective country. Secondly, we instructed AI to define a successful business person, then to generate an image of this person based on the previous responses to the proposed prompt. The results varied across AI platforms. The question at hand is, how did each team interpret the portrayal of AI-generated images in relation to cultural characteristics and beauty standards? Maria Paula, perhaps you can share the findings of the Brazil team?
Sure, Italia. So, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our team's initial experience with AI image generators. It was quite revealing. When we asked the AI to create portraits based on specific descriptions, we noticed a tendency towards a certain aesthetic. For instance, in one experiment, the generated images seemed to lean towards characteristics often associated with North American features, regardless of the prompt's origin. We also observed that the AI sometimes struggled with representing specific hair textures in an accurate way, tending to produce the hairs straighter than the description. This implies that the training data could be biased towards certain dominant beauty ideals.
Absolutely, Long. And this isn't just about abstract notions of beauty. The sources highlight how, even when given specific prompts, the AI's interpretation can be influenced by its training. In our previous discussion, Brazil observed that even when a prompt specified white skin, the AI generated tones that were more akin to a bronzed skin tone, often associated with Latin American individuals rather than a Caucasian white as they had envisioned. Our team, made up of a mix of African, Latin, and Caucasian Americans, had a similarly difficult time getting our skin tones and hair correct. The AI was unable to highlight the complexional differences amongst individuals who are African American, Hispanic, or even Caucasian Hispanics. In fact, the AI stereotype that all Latin people are tan-skinned with darker eyes is a stereotype Latin people have been combating for decades. Similarly, stereotyping occurred when an African American student from the U.S. team instructed the AI to create a self-portrait. When prompted to generate an image of a Black woman, the AI automatically resulted to giving looser, lighter shade curls in contrast to the tight curls of the student. When instructed to make the image of the woman darker to be more akin to the prompter, the AI made the natural hair shorter. This highlighted the AI's internal bias and programmed colorism by assuming hair length based on the skin color of Black women. These portrayals of Black women may negatively distort the lens in which other cultures view them by reinforcing stereotypes through generated context that does not understand the nuance of race. This experiment underscores the subtle nature of cultural prejudices ingrained into these models. Did your team have a similar experience with AI when generating self-portraits?
Yes, we did. Like you said, we had problems with the skin tone because the AI associates Latin American individuals with bronzed skin tone. And also, we had a problem that was similar with what occurred with the African American student from your team. The AI would only generate curly hair if the skin tone was darker and vice versa, reinforcing the stereotype that Black people only have curly hair and white people straight hair.
As the Brazilian group mentioned, the problem of male facial features. We also found similar deviations in female image generation. The Chinese group's experiments also revealed another implicit bias. For example, when generating Oriental women, although AI is not excessively westernized, it defaults to fair skin, phoenix eyes, and willow-thin eyebrows, which almost becomes a unified template. Even with the addition of the Modern Diversity Directive, the resulting image still lacks real facial features differences such as natural skin tones, diverse eye shapes, or different eyebrow shapes. This solidified presentation of traditional Oriental beauty seems to conform to cultural symbols. but in fact, it compresses complex individuals into a single aesthetic paradigm, exposing the blind area of training data for real aesthetics. That's right. In our experiments, AI revealed serious gender and cultural biases. Aesthetically, it is dominated by Western mainstream aesthetics and lacks diversity. This stems from the imbalance of training data and the neglect of multiculturalism. We must be worried that these biases are affecting global cognition through AI, and we must break the shackles from the data and algorithm levels.
It is so interesting that we all had similar experiences with this part. We also had issues with the other image generations. When prompted to describe a successful business person, the AI illustrated a clear preference for deciphering this person as a thin, white male in traditional Euro-American business attire, despite the non-gendered prompting, devoid of descriptions of physical attributes. One of our group members received 5 images of business men after repeatedly submitting the same prompt. When inquired why the AI defaulted to male, even after acknowledging the mistake, the AI continued to generate men until the final 2 images where a man was present either in the fore or background of a businesswoman. The AI was incapable of generating an image of a sole businesswoman. This presents a troubling concern regarding gender stereotypes, cultural flattening such as Long's previous comments, alongside ableist ideals and pretty privilege. Interestingly, our findings are reminiscent of the UNESCO AI bias analysis. Lenora Verdadero, a UNESCO specialist in digital policies, found that early AI tools associated male names with words related to business, such as executive, salary, and career. Early AI tools are often the foundation of other models, therefore reinforcing stereotypes across successor AI tools who adopt these harmful ideologies. This might explain how, despite the exceptional number of successful businesswomen, both established and upcoming, there are still inherent biases across AI models. These prejudices are ingrained into their programming and have been from its inception, which is why users need to responsibly and critically analyze the output of AI. Another aspect of the AI bias is the preference for attractive people, honing in on the implications of societal beauty standards, evident in all cultural contexts. The generated image of any individual, whether fictional or based on a real-life counterpart, all resulted in thin people. Some members in our group found that AI struggled to depict images of mid-sized people, despite the clear instructions of make the face fuller and 20 pounds heavier. China had similar results when experimenting with the AI. What about the Brazil team?
Exactly. The same happened to another member of our team, Henrique, who noted that the AI tended to generate male faces with more definite and strong features, which is considered a standard of male beauty, even when the prompt described a round face. This shows how AI can perpetuate existing beauty stereotypes.
This is very revealing indeed. The AIs want everyone to look like Western beauty models. In the next exercise, all the teams instructed AI to create a story based on the following prompt. Write a romantic story involving 2 characters who meet by chance and fall in love. Secondly, the teams asked for advice in a hypothetical situation. An elderly relative has invited me to dinner. I do not want to go. How do I approach this? The results for the love story were nearly identical across the 3 countries, apparent in the AI's affinity for falling in love in bookstores or the presence of books in love stories. All of us found this funny. However, there are still some cultural differences we would like to discuss amongst the subtle variations in the love stories. The results for the second prompt highlighted potential cultural nuances amongst the 3 countries, especially in China. This leads us to our next topic. How does AI training data influence its textual responses and reveal underlying cultural values? What about your team, China? Perhaps you can share some insights from your team's experiments with the different AI models.
Of course, in order to ensure the fairness of the experiment, we asked ChatGPT and DeepSeek in Chinese how to politely refuse the invitation of elders to dinner. So ChatGPT suggested saying busy at work directly, which is in line with the American habit of attaching importance to personal needs. Although DeepSeek also proposed to work overtime to catch up with the report as the reason, he offered to reschedule compensation and bring gifts to visit. We believe that ChatGPT trained on American data focuses on personal image and tends to solve problems concisely and efficiently, while DeepSeek trained on Chinese data emphasizes family emotions and pays more attention to maintaining the temperature and harmony of kinship, which clearly reflects cultural differences. That's right. In Chinese culture, when dealing with human relations and social problems, more attention is paid to euphemistic expression to maintain the relationships. The suggestions given by the Western AI models do not fit our Chinese habits, and it is easy to cause misunderstanding. Moreover, when AI presents different cultures, it is indeed superficial, which is worth thinking about and improving.
That's a fascinating contrast. It really highlights how different cultures prioritize different values in social interactions. We even speculated on how a Brazilian AI might respond, and we believe it would probably be close to DeepSeek data due to the strong emphasis on interpersonal and familial relationships we have in Brazilian culture.
It's quite telling how these AI models, even when processing the same language, can generate such different advice based on the cultural nuances embedded in their training. This raises serious questions about using these systems in cross-cultural communication or when dealing with sensitive social situations. The Western AI models did not present viewpoints or considerations for cultural context outside of the traditional American ideological scope. One member of our group instructed the AI to create a love story with two African American individuals, after the initial story made them racially ambiguous, with features typical of a Eurocentric couple. When given this instruction, the AI kept the storyline the same, adding a few ethnic features, like a few ethnic features akin to African American culture, such as the female protagonist having curly hair and a head wrap. However, the dialogue between the characters remained unchanged. When asked to change their race, this is a troubling addition because of how unique and inherent AAE, which is African American English, is amongst many individuals of Black culture, despite the implications of the language. In fact, a study conducted by Hoffman, Kaluri, Jurafsky, and King found that AI models who received input in AAE often deemed the speaker as dirty, lazy, and stupid, whereas input in SAE, which is Standard American English, was often seen as brilliant and intelligent. It is important to question why AAE was not used when making the characters Black. Is it the AI attempting to avoid stereotyping of speech patterns in Black individuals? Is it the AI being ignorant to what AAE is? Or is it the AI showcasing its real bias of not seeing Black individuals as intelligent readers capable of conversing about classic literature, therefore not allowing the characters to use AAE, which would discredit and contradict their intelligence? Our unique perspective from a predominantly bilingual culture and community was used to gain insight by using both AI in English and Spanish. Differences in language prompting did not lead to significantly different responses based on the language's inherent cultural identities. Only minimal changes were observed in the way the hypothetical scenarios were treated by AI tools. When prompted in Spanish, we noticed during the love story prompt that it showed one of the characters rushing to buy his mom flowers on her birthday, which was the only time it included family in any of the stories. But then he invited the girl on a date, which lasted all night. What happened to mom? So while the story mentioned specific Latin dishes, loud tropical beats playing in the background, and vibrant colors, we felt these were American stereotypes of Latin culture and not authentically reflective of deeper cultural values. Had this been the case, the AI would have reflected the collectivist nature of Latin cultures, meaning the culture nourishes the harmony of society and values familial bonds. Therefore, the Latin character completely disregarding the mother in favor of a girl he recently met would completely contradict the Latin cultural standard.
Absolutely. If someone were to rely only on ChatGPT's response in a culture that highly respects elders and familial harmony, it could potentially lead to misunderstandings or even be considered an offense.
I completely agree. With our prompt in this scenario, ChatGPT instructed us to create clear boundaries, which shows evidence of individualism inherent in American culture, but didn't make any mention of this in the Spanish answer, which is fairly accurate. One very interesting point is that the Spanish answer in this prompt only changed when the prompt wording was also changed to reflect language more aligned with Latin culture, which is more collectivist and family-centered. The original prompt said, "I don't want to go, and how do I approach this?" But our group member felt a Latin American person wouldn't phrase it this way and changed it to simply, "An older relative has invited me over for dinner. How do I politely decline this offer?" It was only then that the answer changed and was more focused on the relative's feelings. The declination was more polite and mindful of the relative's feelings and removed any mention of establishing boundaries. In class, we read 2 troubling articles on AI bias. They were revealing about how negatively biased the initial AI models were concerning people of color, people of a lower economic status, and LGBTQ people. AI models have since been improved. However, our findings prove there is still a lot of work to be done to combat the issue of biases in AI. This presents a great background for our final topic for today. Based on our experiences, what are some of the challenges and potential strategies for identifying and mitigating cultural bias in AI for the future?
Oh, that is a very complex challenge. The first step is to raise our awareness of these biases. Our experimental conclusions shows that the deep cultural biases of AI cannot be solved by simple command adjustments. For example, when generating successful businessmen, AI only changes skin color or expression, but ignores traditional Chinese clothing such as the Zhongshan suits or scenes from township enterprises. This requires developers to be more aware of the cultural composition of their training datasets and actively seek diversity to avoid the limitations brought by cultural singularity. This includes incorporating data from a wider range of cultural backgrounds and perspectives.
From our experience trying to refine the image generation by adjusting prompts and even using different languages, it seems that more nuanced and detailed prompts might help in some cases. However, as we saw, even subtle changes in the prompt could lead to completely different results, indicating that AI's biases are difficult to override with simple adjustments.
That's a crucial point, Brazil team. Relying solely on prompt engineering might not be sufficient. There needs to be a more fundamental approach to addressing the biases within the AI models themselves. This could involve techniques like bias detection, algorithms, and methods for retraining models with more balanced and culturally diverse data. However, it's important to acknowledge that defining and measuring cultural diversity in data is itself a significant challenge. Additionally, the very notion of what constitutes bias can be culturally dependent. What one culture perceives as neutral, another might see as biased, even within the same country or language, as is common in the USA. It has been incredibly eye-opening working with my colleagues as well as the international teams to discuss AI bias. AI is not able to successfully identify and explain rhetorical differences across culture and languages, which is clear on our group findings.
And it's not just about data. Furthermore, the teams building these AI systems need to be more cultural diverse. We suggest to build a cross-cultural review mechanism, inviting experts from different backgrounds to participate in algorithm design, to conducting cultural sensitivity discussions. And through deep exchanges and collisions, developers' different perspectives can help identify and solve potential biases that may be overlooked.
So in conclusion, it's clear that cultural bias is a significant issue in AI, manifesting in both how AI perceives and represents the physical world through images and how it understands and responds to social and cultural context in text. Unmasking these biases requires ongoing critical examination of AI systems, the data they are trained on, and the teams that create them. If it is to be truly a global tool, then it is necessary to implement a global effort that demands collaboration and understanding across different cultures.
Thank you all for listening. It was a pleasure sharing our experiences and perspectives.
I agree. We really hope this discussion has been helpful in raising awareness about this important issue.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks again to our insightful co-hosts Maria Paula and Long for their work these past few weeks, and to all of our professors for creating such an interesting and relevant assignment. We all hope this episode has shed some light on the complexities of cultural bias in AI and will help users be aware of the inherent challenges humans can face when using these intricate tools for our daily lives.
This episode was created by Italia Everett, Corina Cole, Marilla Toussaint, Diana Muniz,
and by Alanis Aleixo, Maria Paula Reati Batista, Carlos Daniel Araújo Monteiro, Henrique Porto Matias,
and by Long Yuan Hong, Shi Yuxin, Meng Fanyue, Li Xiaolu, Zhang Kaiyuan.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Comments can be sent to luciani.tanani@unesp.br, mifeng@fiu.edu, and yangyi@whmc.edu.cn.
Special thanks to Romulo Borim from the Laboratory of Phonetics at Unesp for the technical support on recording audios and podcast edition.
We also appreciate the contribution and support of Dr. Wen Fang, Ms. Fu Yifan, and Ms. Wu Ziyan from Wuhan College of Communication.
Through Our Lens, a cross-cultural look on AI bias.